Lord, I come to you tonight as a wife who is running on empty, carrying the weight of everyone else's needs while my own soul cries out for rest. My heart feels heavy with the constant demands of marriage, motherhood, work, and all the invisible labor that no one sees but everyone depends on. I feel like I'm drowning in an ocean of responsibilities, gasping for air while trying to keep everyone else afloat. You see how I've been pushing through exhaustion, forcing smiles when my heart is breaking, saying, "I'm fine," when everything inside me is screaming for help. The weariness has settled into my bones, making even simple tasks feel mountainous, and I can barely remember what it feels like to be truly rested. I long for the kind of rest that goes beyond sleep, the soul-deep restoration that only comes from you. Tonight I'm asking you to meet me in this place of desperate need, to minister to my weary heart and give me the rest my spirit craves. God, I confess that I've been trying to be everything to everyone, wearing myself thin in the process of keeping everyone else comfortable and happy. I wake up tired, go to bed exhausted, and spend my days in a fog of fatigue that makes everything harder than it should be. The endless cycle of cooking, cleaning, working, managing schedules, solving problems, and meeting needs has left me feeling like a machine rather than a woman with dreams and desires of my own. I've forgotten what it feels like to sit quietly without feeling guilty, to rest without a mental list of everything I should be doing instead. My husband sees me struggling but doesn't fully understand the depth of my exhaustion, the way it affects every aspect of my being. I carry the mental load of our household, remembering appointments, managing calendars, keeping track of everyone's needs while my own get pushed aside. The weight of being the family's emotional center, the one everyone turns to for comfort and solutions, has become almost unbearable. Tonight I surrender this overwhelming burden of responsibility and ask you to show me how to rest without guilt, how to care for others while also caring for myself. Father, I bring you the exhaustion that has settled into my marriage, the way weariness has affected my ability to be the wife I want to be. I'm tired of going through the motions, of giving from an empty cup, of feeling more like roommates than lovers with the man I promised to cherish. The romance has been buried under piles of laundry, endless to-do lists, and the daily grind of just surviving each day. I miss the woman I used to be before exhaustion became my constant companion, before I started measuring my worth by how much I could accomplish rather than who I am in your eyes. My husband deserves more than the tired, stressed version of me that he's been getting, but I don't know how to give what I don't have. The physical intimacy feels like another task on my list rather than a gift we share, and I hate that exhaustion has stolen this beautiful part of our relationship. I feel guilty for being too tired to connect, too overwhelmed to be present, too drained to show affection the way I want to. But tonight I ask you to breathe new life into my weary heart, to restore the joy and passion that exhaustion has stolen from our marriage. Lord, I surrender the guilt I carry about needing rest, about wanting time for myself, about not being able to do it all with endless energy and enthusiasm. Society tells me I should be able to handle everything with grace and a smile, that asking for help is weakness, that good wives don't get tired or overwhelmed. I've believed the lie that my worth is measured by my productivity, that resting is selfish, that taking care of myself is somehow taking away from my family. The guilt eats away at me when I want to say no to requests, when I need a break, when I simply want to sit in silence without anyone needing anything from me. I've been running on fumes for so long that I've forgotten it's okay to refuel, okay to admit I'm human, okay to have limits and boundaries. The pressure to be the perfect wife, mother, and woman has driven me to the point of complete exhaustion, and I can't continue this way. Tonight I choose to release this guilt and embrace the truth that you created me with limitations, that rest isn't lazy but necessary, that caring for myself enables me to better care for others. God, I bring you the loneliness I feel even in a crowded house, surrounded by people who love me but don't fully understand the depth of my weariness. I feel isolated in my exhaustion, like I'm the only one struggling to keep up with life's demands while everyone else seems to manage effortlessly. My husband tries to help, but he doesn't see all the invisible work that falls on my shoulders, the mental energy required to run a household and manage everyone's lives. I long for someone who truly understands the bone-deep tiredness that comes from constant giving, the emotional labor that drains my soul even when my body isn't physically active. The loneliness of carrying everyone's emotional needs while having nowhere to put my own has left me feeling empty and forgotten. I miss having friends who really know me, who see beyond the put-together exterior to the struggling woman underneath. Social media shows me other wives who seem to have it all together, making me feel even more alone in my struggles and inadequacies. But tonight I remember that you see me completely, that you understand my exhaustion even when no one else does, that in you I am never truly alone in my struggles. Father, I confess that exhaustion has affected my spiritual life, making prayer feel like another obligation rather than a source of strength and comfort. I'm too tired to read my Bible with the attention it deserves, too overwhelmed to spend quiet time with you the way I used to. My prayers have become desperate pleas for strength to get through another day rather than intimate conversations with my Creator. I feel guilty for not having more energy for spiritual disciplines, for letting busyness crowd out the very activities that could restore my soul. The exhaustion has made me feel distant from you, even though I know you're near, even though I desperately need your presence and peace. I miss the days when spending time with you felt natural and nourishing rather than forced and hurried. My spiritual life feels as depleted as my physical and mental energy, and I don't know how to restore what exhaustion has stolen. Tonight I ask you to meet me in my weakness, to speak to my tired heart even when I can barely find words to pray, to restore the joy of salvation and the peace that comes from resting in your presence. Lord, I surrender the perfectionism that has been driving me to exhaustion, the belief that I must excel in every area of life simultaneously. I've been trying to be the perfect wife with a spotless home, gourmet meals, and endless patience, while also being the perfect mother, employee, friend, daughter, and woman. The standards I've set for myself are impossible to maintain without sacrificing my health and sanity, yet I keep pushing myself to meet them anyway. I compare myself to other women who seem to manage everything effortlessly, forgetting that everyone struggles, everyone has bad days, everyone needs rest and grace. The pursuit of perfection has robbed me of the joy of being human, of making mistakes, of learning and growing through imperfection. I've forgotten that good enough is often actually good enough, that my family needs my presence more than my perfection. The exhaustion that comes from trying to be everything to everyone has left me feeling like I'm failing at everything instead. Tonight I choose to embrace the freedom of being beautifully, imperfectly human, to rest in your grace rather than striving for impossible standards. God, I bring you the physical exhaustion that has settled into every muscle and bone, making even simple tasks feel overwhelming. My body aches from the constant stress and tension of trying to keep up with life's demands without adequate rest or self-care. I've been ignoring the signals my body sends, pushing through fatigue, skipping meals, losing sleep, and wondering why I feel terrible all the time. The physical manifestations of exhaustion, headaches, muscle tension, digestive issues, hormonal imbalances, are reminders that I cannot continue this pace indefinitely. I've been treating my body like a machine that should run perfectly on minimal maintenance, forgetting that you created me with physical needs and limitations. The guilt I feel about needing rest, about not being able to power through like I used to, has only added to my physical stress. I've been so focused on caring for everyone else's physical needs that I've neglected my own body's desperate cries for rest, nutrition, movement, and care. Tonight I commit to honoring the body you've given me, to resting without guilt, to caring for myself with the same compassion I show others, to trust that taking care of my physical needs enables me to better serve my family. Father, I release the mental exhaustion that has clouded my thinking and stolen my joy in daily life. My mind feels like a computer with too many programs running, constantly processing information, making decisions, solving problems, and remembering details for everyone in my family. The mental load of running a household, managing schedules, keeping track of everyone's needs and wants has become overwhelming and relentless. I can't remember the last time my mind felt clear and peaceful, free from the constant chatter of worries, to-do lists, and responsibilities. Even when I try to relax, my brain keeps running through everything I need to do, should have done, or might need to do tomorrow. The decision fatigue from making countless choices every day, from what to cook for dinner to how to handle family conflicts, has left me feeling depleted and indecisive. I long for mental clarity, for the ability to think clearly and calmly, for moments of mental stillness where my thoughts can rest. Tonight I ask you to quiet my racing mind, to give me your peace that surpasses understanding, to help me cast my cares upon you so my mind can find the rest it desperately needs. Lord, I surrender the emotional exhaustion that has been draining my heart and affecting my relationships with everyone I love. I've been absorbing everyone else's emotions, carrying their stress, their disappointments, their fears as if they were my own burdens to bear. The emotional labor of being the family's counselor, cheerleader, peacemaker, and emotional support system has left me feeling empty and overwhelmed. I give and give until there's nothing left for myself, then feel guilty for having nothing more to offer. My own emotions get pushed aside in favor of managing everyone else's feelings, leaving me disconnected from my own heart and needs. I've become so used to putting others first that I've forgotten how to identify and honor my own emotional needs. The weight of being strong for everyone else has made me feel weak and fragile on the inside, desperate for someone to be strong for me. I'm tired of being the one everyone turns to when they need emotional support while having nowhere to turn when I need the same. Tonight I ask you to be my emotional refuge, to restore my heart and fill me with your love so I can love others from overflow rather than depletion. For those watching, there's a special ebook in our pinned comment called Don't Think, Trust and Surrender that offers practical guidance for overwhelmed wives seeking God's rest. Remember, this spiritual support complements but doesn't replace professional counseling when needed. God, I bring you the exhaustion that comes from constantly being on, from never feeling like I can fully relax or let my guard down. I feel like I'm performing the role of wife, mother, and woman rather than simply being who you created me to be. The pressure to always be available, always be helpful, always be positive has worn me down to the point where I don't remember who I am underneath all these roles and responsibilities. I miss the spontaneous, joyful woman I used to be before exhaustion became my default state. Before I started measuring my worth by my usefulness to others. The fear of disappointing people, of not meeting their expectations, of being seen as selfish or inadequate keeps me pushing beyond my limits even when my body and soul are crying out for rest. I've forgotten that it's okay to have needs, okay to say no, okay to prioritize my own well-being alongside caring for others. The exhaustion has stolen my laughter, my creativity, my sense of adventure and wonder about life. Tonight I ask you to restore the joy you've placed in my heart, to remind me of who I am apart from what I do, to help me rest in your love rather than striving for human approval. Father, I surrender the sleep deprivation that has been affecting every aspect of my life, making everything harder than it needs to be. Whether it's from staying up late trying to catch up on tasks, lying awake worrying about tomorrow's challenges, or being interrupted by family needs throughout the night, I can't remember the last time I felt truly rested. The chronic lack of quality sleep has affected my mood, my patience, my ability to think clearly and make good decisions. I'm tired of being tired, exhausted by the exhaustion itself, caught in a cycle where fatigue makes everything more difficult, which creates more stress, which makes sleep even more elusive. I've tried everything I can think of to improve my sleep, but the mental and emotional burdens I carry follow me to bed and keep me awake with worry. The guilt about needing more sleep, about wanting to rest when there's always something that needs to be done, has made even bedtime feel stressful rather than peaceful. I long for the gift of restorative sleep, for nights when I can turn off my mind and trust you with tomorrow's concerns. Tonight I place my sleep in your hands, asking you to grant me rest that restores my body, mind, and spirit. Lord, I bring you the exhaustion that comes from trying to maintain a social life while barely having energy for my own family. I feel guilty for canceling plans, for not being the friend I want to be, for choosing rest over social obligations even when I desperately need connection. The energy required to be on in social situations, to be encouraging and supportive when I'm struggling myself, feels overwhelming most days. I miss the days when spending time with friends felt energizing rather than draining, when social connections filled my cup rather than emptying it further. The comparison trap of social media, seeing other wives who seem to effortlessly balance social lives with family responsibilities, makes me feel even more inadequate and isolated. I've become the friend who always has to cancel, always has an excuse, always seems too busy or too tired to maintain meaningful relationships. The loneliness of having surface-level connections when what I really need is deep, authentic friendship weighs heavily on my heart. Tonight I ask you to bring the right people into my life at the right time. Friendships that energize rather than drain. Connections that understand my season of life and love me anyway. God, I release the exhaustion that comes from financial stress, from trying to stretch budgets, make ends meet, and provide for my family's needs while feeling like we're always falling short. The mental energy spent worrying about money, calculating expenses, trying to find ways to save or earn more has become another full-time job that I don't have time or energy for. I'm tired of feeling guilty about every purchase, every expense, every financial decision that affects our family's security and future. The burden of wanting to contribute financially while also managing the household and caring for our family feels impossible to balance. I lie awake at night running numbers, wondering how we'll afford upcoming expenses, fearing unexpected costs that could devastate our budget. The exhaustion of living with financial uncertainty, of never feeling secure or stable, has stolen my peace and added another layer of stress to my already overwhelming life. I've been trying to solve our financial challenges through my own efforts, working harder, worrying more, but finding little relief from the constant pressure. Tonight I surrender our financial situation to you, trusting that you are our provider, that you see our needs and will meet them according to your riches in glory. Father, I bring you the exhaustion that comes from managing everyone's schedules, needs, and problems while losing sight of my own identity and dreams. I feel like a personal assistant to my own family, keeping track of appointments, activities, deadlines, and obligations while my own interests and goals get pushed aside indefinitely. The mental energy required to coordinate everyone's lives, to make sure nothing falls through the cracks, to be the family's memory and organizational system has left me feeling more like a manager than a beloved wife and mother. I've become so focused on everyone else's success and happiness that I've forgotten what makes me happy, what dreams I used to have, what interests used to bring me joy. The woman I was before marriage and motherhood feels like a distant memory, buried under years of self-sacrifice and service to others. I long to rediscover who I am apart from my roles, to pursue interests that feed my soul, to have goals that are just for me. The guilt about wanting something for myself, about taking time away from family responsibilities to pursue personal interests, has kept me stuck in this cycle of endless service. Tonight I ask you to help me remember who you created me to be, to show me how to honor my own dreams and desires while still being a loving wife and mother. Lord, I surrender the exhaustion that comes from trying to be my husband's everything. His lover, best friend, counselor, cheerleader, and support system, while feeling like I'm failing in every area. I want to be the wife he deserves, but I'm running on empty, giving from a depleted well, going through the motions without the energy or enthusiasm I wish I had. The pressure to meet all his needs while managing my own overwhelming responsibilities has left me feeling inadequate and resentful. I love him deeply, but I'm too tired to show it in the ways I want to. Too overwhelmed to be the companion and partner he married. The guilt about not being enough, not giving enough, not having enough energy for our relationship weighs heavily on my heart. I see how my exhaustion affects him, how it creates distance between us, how it robs our marriage of the joy and intimacy we both crave. I want to desire him, to prioritize our relationship, to create space for romance and connection, but the exhaustion makes everything feel like work rather than love. Tonight I ask you to restore my heart for my husband, to renew my energy for our marriage, to help us find ways to connect that don't require more than I have to give. God, I release the mom exhaustion that has consumed every aspect of my being, the unique tiredness that comes from being responsible for shaping young lives while questioning every decision I make. I'm tired of being the family's emotional regulator, the one who has to stay calm when everyone else is falling apart, the one who absorbs everyone's big feelings and helps them process through challenges. The weight of knowing that my responses, my words, my attitudes are shaping my children's understanding of love, life, and you feels overwhelming on my best days and crushing on my worst. I want to be patient, kind, wise, and nurturing, but exhaustion makes me short-tempered, distracted, and reactive instead of responsive. The guilt about not being the mother I want to be, about losing my temper, about feeling overwhelmed by the very people I love most in this world, adds another layer to my already heavy burden. I see other mothers who seem to handle everything with grace and patience, making me feel like I'm failing at the most important job I'll ever have. The exhaustion of being needed constantly, of having my body, mind, and heart pulled in multiple directions every moment of every day has left me feeling depleted and empty. Tonight I ask you to fill me with your love so I can love my children from overflow, to give me supernatural patience and wisdom for the hard days, to help me be the mother you've called me to be even when I feel like I have nothing left to give. Father, I bring you the exhaustion that comes from maintaining a household, from the endless cycle of cooking, cleaning, organizing, and managing that never stays done for more than a few hours. I'm tired of feeling like I'm fighting a losing battle against chaos, of spending my days on tasks that no one notices until they're not done. The mental energy of meal planning, grocery shopping, keeping track of what we need, what we have, what's running out has become another full-time job that I manage alongside everything else. I long for a home that feels peaceful and organized, but the reality is piles of laundry, dishes in the sink, toys scattered everywhere, and surfaces that collect clutter faster than I can clear them. The Pinterest perfect homes I see online make me feel inadequate and lazy, like I should be able to maintain a beautiful, organized space while also managing everything else on my plate. I've been trying to do it all, to be the perfect homemaker while also being everything else my family needs, and the exhaustion is crushing my spirit. The resentment that builds when I feel like I'm the only one who cares about our living space, the only one who sees what needs to be done, has poisoned my joy in creating a home for the people I love. Tonight I surrender my perfectionist expectations for our home and ask for contentment with good enough, for help from my family, for peace in the midst of beautiful chaos. Lord, I release the work exhaustion that bleeds into every other area of my life, making it impossible to be fully present for my family when I get home. Whether I work outside the home or run a business from home, the mental and emotional energy required to perform well in my career while also being a wife and mother feels impossible to sustain. I'm tired of feeling like I'm failing at both work and home, like I can't give either the attention and energy they deserve. The guilt about working when my family needs me, and about focusing on family when work demands my attention has created a constant state of internal conflict. I want to contribute to our family's financial stability, to use the gifts and talents you've given me, to find fulfillment in meaningful work, but the exhaustion of trying to excel in multiple areas simultaneously is overwhelming. The pressure to prove myself at work, to show that being a wife and mother doesn't make me less capable or committed, has driven me to work harder and longer than I should. I lie awake thinking about work problems, checking emails at all hours, carrying work stress into my home and relationships. Tonight I ask you to help me create healthy boundaries between work and home, to find balance that honors both my career and my family, to trust that you will provide for our needs even when I can't do it all perfectly. God, I bring you the spiritual exhaustion that has left me feeling distant from you just when I need you most. I'm too tired to pray with the focus and attention I want to give you, too overwhelmed to study your word with the depth and consistency I know would feed my soul. My quiet times have become rushed and distracted, more about checking off a spiritual to-do list than actually connecting with you in meaningful ways. I feel guilty for not having more energy for spiritual disciplines, for letting my relationship with you suffer under the weight of everything else I'm trying to manage. The exhaustion has made worship feel like work, prayer feel like obligation, and Bible reading feel like homework rather than the life-giving activities they're meant to be. I miss the days when spending time with you felt natural and restorative, when your presence brought immediate peace and strength to my weary soul. I know you're the source of the rest I need, but I feel too tired to reach for you, too depleted to believe that you care about my exhaustion and want to help. Tonight I come to you just as I am, empty and exhausted, asking you to meet me in this place of desperate need, to speak to my tired heart even when I can barely find words to pray. Father, I surrender my need to have it all together, to appear strong and capable when I'm actually falling apart inside. I'm tired of pretending that I'm fine when people ask how I'm doing, of putting on a brave face when I want to cry, of acting like I have everything under control when I feel like I'm drowning. The pressure to be the strong one, the one who has it figured out, the one others can depend on has become too heavy for my weary shoulders to bear. I've been afraid to admit that I'm struggling, afraid that showing weakness will disappoint people or make them lose confidence in me. The isolation that comes from carrying burdens alone, from feeling like I can't be honest about my struggles, has made the exhaustion even heavier. I long for authentic relationships where I can be real about my challenges, where I can receive support instead of always being the one giving it. The fear of being judged, of being seen as inadequate or failing, has kept me trapped in this cycle of exhaustion and pretense. Tonight I choose vulnerability over perfection, honesty over image management, and I ask you to surround me with people who will love me in my weakness and support me in my struggles. Lord, I bring you the exhaustion that comes from caring for aging parents while also caring for my own family, feeling stretched between generations and struggling to meet everyone's needs adequately. The emotional weight of watching my parents' health decline, their independence decrease, their needs increase has added another layer of responsibility to my already overwhelming life. I want to honor them, to care for them with the same love and attention they gave me, but I don't know how to add their needs to everything else I'm already carrying. The guilt about not being able to do more, about living far away, about not visiting enough, about feeling frustrated with their increasing demands weighs heavily on my heart. I'm tired of feeling like I'm failing everyone. My parents who need more care, my husband who needs more attention, my children who need more presence, and myself who needs more rest. The sandwich generation pressure of being needed by both my children and my parents has left me feeling squeezed and depleted from all sides. Tonight I ask you for wisdom about how to care for everyone well without destroying myself in the process, for peace about what I can and cannot do, for grace to love imperfectly rather than not at all. God, I release the exhaustion that comes from trying to maintain extended family relationships, from managing holiday expectations, family drama, and complicated dynamics that drain my energy and steal my peace. I'm tired of being the peacemaker, the one who tries to keep everyone happy, the one who absorbs the tension and conflict so others don't have to. The emotional labor of navigating family politics, remembering everyone's preferences and sensitivities, trying to include everyone while protecting my own family's well-being has become overwhelming. I want to love my extended family well, but I'm exhausted by the drama, the expectations, the way every gathering feels like walking through a minefield of potential conflicts. The pressure to maintain traditions, host gatherings, and create perfect family memories while managing everyone's personalities and needs has stolen the joy from celebrations and special occasions. I feel guilty for wanting to limit contact with family members who drain me, for setting boundaries that others see as rejection or selfishness. Tonight I ask you for wisdom about how to love difficult people while protecting my own emotional health, for courage to set boundaries that preserve my peace, for grace to navigate complex family relationships with love and wisdom. Father, I bring you the exhaustion that comes from the invisible labor of emotional management in my family, from being everyone's counselor, cheerleader, and emotional support system. I carry the weight of everyone's feelings, their disappointments, their struggles as if they were my own burdens to bear. I'm tired of being the one everyone turns to when they need encouragement, advice, or someone to listen to their problems while having nowhere to turn when I need the same support. The emotional energy required to help my husband process work stress, my children navigate social challenges, extended family deal with their various crises has left me emotionally bankrupt. I want to be supportive and loving, but I've given so much emotional energy to others that I have nothing left for myself. The resentment that builds when I feel like everyone takes my emotional support for granted, when they don't realize the cost of constantly being their emotional refuge, has poisoned my joy in relationships. I long for someone to be strong for me, to listen to my struggles without trying to fix them, to offer comfort and encouragement when I'm the one who needs support. Tonight I ask you to be my emotional refuge, to restore my heart and fill me with your love so I can give from overflow rather than depletion. Lord, I surrender the physical symptoms of exhaustion that have been affecting my health and well-being in ways I can no longer ignore. The chronic fatigue has settled into my bones, making even simple tasks feel mountainous, and I can't remember what it feels like to wake up refreshed and energized. My body aches from the constant tension of stress, my digestion is affected by anxiety and poor eating habits, my sleep is disrupted by worry and overwhelm. I've been ignoring my body's signals, pushing through pain and fatigue, treating myself like a machine that should function perfectly regardless of how I treat it. The headaches, muscle tension, hormonal imbalances, and other physical manifestations of chronic stress are reminders that I cannot continue at this pace indefinitely. I feel guilty for having physical limitations, for needing rest, for not being able to power through like I used to or like I think I should. The shame about not being stronger, not being able to handle everything without physical consequences, has made me hide my struggles even from those who love me most. Tonight I commit to honoring my body as your temple, to caring for my physical needs with the same attention I give to everyone else's, to rest without guilt and seek help without shame. God, I release the mental exhaustion that has clouded my thinking and made decision-making feel impossible. My mind feels like a computer with too many programs running, constantly processing information about everyone's needs, schedules, problems, and concerns. I can't remember the last time my thoughts felt clear and organized, when I could focus on one thing without being distracted by the mental list of everything else that needs attention. The decision fatigue from making countless choices every day, from what to cook for dinner to how to handle family conflicts to which bills to pay first, has left me feeling paralyzed and overwhelmed. Even simple decisions feel monumentally difficult when my mental resources are already stretched beyond their limits. I long for clarity of thought, for the ability to think clearly and calmly, for moments of mental stillness where I can hear my own thoughts above the constant noise of responsibilities and concerns. The brain fog that comes with chronic exhaustion has made me feel stupid and incompetent, questioning my ability to handle even basic tasks that used to be second nature. Tonight I ask you to quiet my racing mind, to give me your peace that surpasses understanding, to restore mental clarity and the ability to think with wisdom and focus. Father, I bring you the exhaustion that comes from constant decision-making, from being the one everyone turns to for answers, solutions, and direction. I'm tired of being the family's GPS, responsible for navigating every situation, solving every problem, making every plan work out perfectly. The weight of being the default parent, the one who handles school communications, medical appointments, social arrangements, and crisis management has become overwhelming. I want to share these responsibilities, but it often feels easier to do things myself rather than explain, delegate, and follow up to make sure things get done correctly. The mental energy required to think ahead, plan for contingencies, and manage everyone's needs and schedules has left me feeling like I'm running a small business rather than enjoying family life. I'm exhausted by the constant stream of questions, requests, and problems that need my immediate attention and decision-making. The fear of making wrong decisions, of forgetting important details, of letting someone down has created anxiety around every choice I need to make. Tonight I ask you for wisdom to know when to step back and let others handle their own responsibilities, courage to delegate without micromanaging, and peace about decisions that don't turn out perfectly. Lord, I release the exhaustion that holds me back from the rest you promise, the peace you offer, the restoration you provide for weary souls like mine. I choose to stop striving and start resting, to cease from my own works and enter into your rest. Fill me with your peace that transcends understanding, your strength that is made perfect in my weakness, your love that casts out fear and worry. Help me to sleep peacefully tonight, knowing that you never slumber nor sleep, that you are watching over my family while I rest. Restore my joy in being a wife, renew my energy for loving my husband, refresh my heart for the beautiful calling of marriage. May tomorrow bring new mercies, fresh strength, and a renewed sense of purpose as I learn to live from rest rather than exhaustion. Show me how to establish rhythms of rest in my daily life, how to set boundaries that protect my peace, how to say no to good things so I can say yes to the best things. If this prayer has ministered to your weary heart, please share it with another wife who needs to hear these words of hope and rest. And don't forget to like this video to help us reach more women who are carrying burdens too heavy for their hearts to bear alone.